3 cabins, 3 winters, 3 stories rangers refuse to discuss. A cabin that appears on GPS but doesn't exist. A 10 by 8 foot prison where cabin fever turned into murder. And a fire lookout where a 70-year-old woman disappeared 18 years ago and was never found. What connects them? Isolation, snow, and something that doesn't want to be discovered. Rangers mark these locations with warnings. Some have been abandoned entirely, but the cabins are still there, and so is whatever happened inside them. Let's talk about the places they don't want you to know about. Subscribe if you're new, and let's jump into the stories. I'm a fire lookout in Alberta, Canada. I've worked these towers for 11 years. There are 128 fire lookout stations in Alberta. Most of them are staffed by one person, alone, for months at a time. It's a dream job if you love solitude, but there's one tower we don't talk about. Athabasca Lookout, about 13 kilometers northwest of Hinton. In August 2006, a 70-year-old fire lookout named Stephanie Stewart was stationed there. She'd been working that same tower for 13 years. She loved it. She was tough, an accomplished outdoorswoman. She climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, cycled across Canada. Every morning at 7 AM, she was required to radio in a weather report. On August 26, 2006, she didn't call. A wildfire officer was dispatched to check on her. What he found is still classified in the official reports, but I know what I saw because I was friends with them. The cabin door was unlocked. On the stove, there was a pot of water. The burner was on full. The water had been boiling so long it had almost completely evaporated. On the porch steps, there was blood. Not a lot, just a smear, like someone had been dragged. Inside the cabin, 2 pillows were missing, a bedsheet, a comforter, and Stephanie's gold watch. Her truck was still parked outside. Her boots were by the door, but Stephanie was gone. A conservation officer arrived to check for animal attacks. No hair, no prints, no scat. This wasn't a bear. This wasn't a cougar. This was a human. The RCMP launched one of the largest searches in Alberta history. Over 100 searchers, helicopters, search dogs, they covered 8,000 hectares. They never found her. Not a piece of clothing, not a bone, nothing. Stephanie Stewart vanished. The case was ruled a homicide. But here's what makes it so disturbing. Whoever took her knew where the tower was. It's not on a public trail. You need a key to get past the gate. The only people who know how to get there are other fire lookouts, and the person who took her brought the bedding. They planned it. They knew she'd be alone. They knew no one would find her for hours. After the case, the province installed panic buttons in all towers, better lighting, self-defense training. But Stephanie's tower is still operational. Someone still works there every summer. I've talked to 3 people who've been stationed at Athabasca since 2006. All of them quit within a month. They won't say why, but I know one of them, a guy named Aaron. We trained together. I asked him why he quit. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "The pot." I didn't understand. He said that every morning, when he woke up, there was a pot on the stove. The burner was on. The water was boiling, but Aaron never put it there. He said he turned it off before bed, checked the stove, made sure everything was off. But every morning, it was on again, boiling. He lasted 3 weeks. The last night he was there, he woke up at 3 AM. He heard footsteps on the porch. Slow, deliberate. He grabbed his flashlight, opened the door. There were boot prints in the snow, leading to the cabin, but not away. He said the prints stopped at the porch, right where Stephanie's blood was found. Aaron packed his stuff and hiked out that night. He never went back. I still work fire lookouts, but I'll never work in Athabasca, because last winter I was doing a patrol near Hinton. I passed by the access road to the tower and I saw boot prints in the snow, fresh, leading up the mountain. I followed them for about half a mile and then they just stopped in the middle of the trail. No trees nearby, no turnoff, just stopped. Like whoever was walking just vanished mid-step. I turned around and left. Stephanie Stewart has been missing for 18 years. She'll be 88 now, if she's still alive, but I don't think she is. I think whoever took her is still out there, and I think they're still watching that tower. I'm a retired Alaska State Trooper. I've worked cold cases for the last 15 years of my career. In 2008, I reopened a file from 1951, a murder case, Cabin 14, Titna River, 90 miles southwest of Tanana. What I found in that file kept me awake for weeks. It started in December 1950. 3 trappers, Raymond Layton, 36, Harold Dream, 19, and Barney Grant, 33, decided to winter together in an isolated trapping cabin. They were 90 miles from the nearest town, accessible only by plane. But it wasn't just 3 men. Barney brought his wife, Madeline, and their 3-year-old son, Bobby. 5 people, one 10 by 8 foot cabin, 4 months of winter. From the start, it went wrong. They ran out of food by late December. The moose they killed had no fat, the dogs ate most of it. They ran out of tobacco. Barney tried smoking tea leaves instead. It didn't work. The cold was unbearable, the cabin was too small, tempers flared. And Raymond Layton wanted Barney's wife. According to Madeline's testimony, years later, when she finally broke, Layton made advances almost daily. He told her to leave Barney. He told her she was wasting her life. He told her that Barney was weak, and Barney knew. On January the 14th, 1951, Barney went outside to check his dog team. Layton and Dean followed him. Barney was leaning over his dogs when Layton pulled out a pistol and shot him in the back of the head. Barney tried to crawl away. Layton shot him 5 more times, in the head, in the neck. Then Harold Dean, 19 years old, fresh from Illinois, raised his rifle and shot Barney in the back. He said, "I'll get my 2 bits in on this." Barney Grant bled out in the snow in front of his dogs. His wife watched from the cabin window. His 3-year-old son was inside. But the murder was just the beginning. Layton and Dean realized they had a problem, a body. They threatened Madeline into silence, told her if she talked, they'll kill her and Bobby too. Then they loaded Barney's body onto a sledge, dragged it 8 miles through the snow to another cabin. They threw him inside and set it on fire, but the fire didn't destroy everything. The skull was too recognizable, 6 bullet holes in the back, so Layton took the skull and threw it into a creek. They buried the rest of the bones, put a cross on top. Barney Grant, 1917 to 1951. Then they went back to the cabin and lived there for 2 more months with Barney's widow and son. In March, they finally reported Barney's death. They said he'd gone out with his dogs and never came back, that they found the cabin burned down and that they buried their friend with honor. The marshal didn't believe them. He found the body, noticed the cabin walls were still standing. You can't burn a body to bones without burning the cabin down. He pressured Harold Dean. The 19-year-old broke. "I didn't kill Barney. He said he'll kill me." The truth came out. Layton was charged with 2nd-degree murder. He pled guilty, 30 years in prison. Madeline and Harold were charged as accessories. But here's the part that no one talks about. In 1958, Layton filed for retrial. He claimed self-defense. Despite his confession, despite the evidence, despite the fact that he shot a man in the back of the head 6 times while he was leaning over his dogs. The jury found him not guilty. Raymond Layton walked free. He told a reporter, "It's a terrific break. I feel like a new man." 6 months later, he was arrested again. This time for threatening a man with a loaded rifle at Kentwell. He also stole the man's pistol. Some people just can't stop. I tried to find out what happened to Madeline and Bobby, the wife, the 3-year-old who watched his father get murdered. There's no record. They vanished from history. The cabin on Titna River still stands. I flew out there in 2009, took photos. The walls are rotting, the roof is caved in, but you can still see the blood stains on the snow outside. Old blood from 1951. Blood doesn't fade into permafrost. But here's the thing that made me quit working cold cases. I was inside the cabin, taking photos, documenting, and I found something carved into the wall. Fresh, maybe a few days old. It said, "Layton was here, 2009. Raymond Layton died in 2000. I packed up my gear and left. I've never went back." I've been a park ranger in the Colorado Rockies for 21 years. I've seen a lot of strange things in the backcountry. Bear attacks, lost hikers, bodies frozen in the snow. But nothing prepared me for what I found during a winter patrol in February 2019. It was late afternoon, temperature was dropping fast. I was about 8 miles deep into a restricted area, checking for poachers, when I saw smoke. Not a lot, just a thin grey column rising through the trees about a half a mile north. That wasn't normal. There were no cabins in that sector, no trails, no camping permits issued. It was February, no one should have been out there. I radioed it in, dispatch confirmed, no structures within 10 miles of my coordinates. But I could see smoke, so I followed it. The hike took about 40 minutes, the forest got denser, darker, and then I saw it. A cabin, small, maybe 20 feet by 20 feet, log construction, looked old but well maintained, smoke curling from a stone chimney. I approached slowly, called out, no answer. The door was unlocked, I pushed it open. The smell hit me first, wood smoke, coffee, something cooking. The fire in the heath was burning strong, fresh logs, a cast iron pot hung over the flames with stew inside, still bubbling. On the table, there was a plate, half-eaten bread, a mug of coffee, still warm. Someone had been here minutes ago. I searched the cabin, one room, a cot in the corner with a wool blanket, a bookshelf with old paperbacks, a kerosene lamp. And on the table, next to the coffee mug, was a leather-bound journal. I opened it. The first entry was dated March the 14th, 1978. Found this place by accident, no idea who built it, no maps show it. Spent the night, felt watched. I flipped through the pages, different handwriting, different people, dozens of entries spanning 40 years. June 1983, stayed 3 nights, heard footsteps on the roof every night at 2 a.m. Nothing there in the morning. October 1991, the door was locked from the outside when I woke up, had to break a window to get out. January 2007, someone carved my name into the wall, but I've never been here before. And then I got to the last entry, February the 10th, 2019, 4 days ago. It said, "They're back. I can hear them outside, circling, scraping at the walls. If you're reading this, don't stay after dark. Leave now. Don't look back." I checked my watch, 4:47 p.m. Sunset was in 13 minutes. I grabbed my radio, tried to call dispatch. Static. I tried my GPS. The screen was glitching, coordinates scrambling. That's when I heard it. Footsteps on the roof. Slow, deliberate, scraping. I ran, burst through the door, didn't look back, ran straight into the forest. But something was wrong. I couldn't find my tracks. The snow was smooth, untouched. I ran for 20 minutes, checked my compass, headed south, but I ended up back at the cabin. I tried again, ran west this time, ended up at the cabin. North, east, southwest, every direction led back to the cabin. It was getting dark. I could hear footsteps again, closer now, not just on the roof, all around me. I don't remember how I got out. I woke up 2 miles away, face down in the snow. At 9:34 p.m, my GPS was working again. My radio crackled back to life. When I reported it, they sent a search team the next day. I gave them the exact coordinates, the GPS logs from my device. They found nothing. No cabin, no clearing, just unbroken forest. But here's the thing, I checked the GPS logs from that day. For 43 minutes, according to the GPS, I walked in a perfect circle, 14 times, around the same point. The coordinates are still saved in the system, and every winter, other rangers report seeing smoke rising from that exact spot. No one investigates anymore, because the last ranger who tried, he came back 3 days later, said he found the cabin, said he found the journal, and when they asked him what was the last entry, he went pale. He said it was dated the day he arrived, and it was written in his handwriting. It said, "I'm not alone in here." He quit the next week. I still work these mountains, but I don't patrol that sector anymore. None of us do.